The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
It's the Becky and Boca Show, coming to you live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. from glamorous downtown Boca Raton. I'll show you how to live life in style in one of the country's most elegant cities, nestled right along the beautiful Atlantic beaches between Palm Beach and Miami. So sit back, relax, and let me show you how to indulge yourself Boca style.
A spiritual, clinical.
Hello, welcome to the Becky and Boca Show, part two. I'm doing 2 shows a week now. Okay, I still have Karen Turk with me. She's a conservative talk radio host.
I am.
She's a former Mrs. Florida.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen her on the national news lately with Roger Stone.
I've been here, there, and everywhere.
Yes.
There's been a lot going on.
You also are a little bit involved with the Cindy
Cindy Yang.
Cindy Yang. Okay, if anyone doesn't know, she's the infamous massage parlor owner associated with Mar-a-Lago and Donald Trump.
Except that she owned the spas for 7 years prior. She had sold the spas. There were 7 years between the Robert Kraft incident and when she owned the spas. So, there's more to that story. That's for sure.
That's all over the news too. All this stuff is happening in South Florida.
There's a lot happening in South Florida right now.
And you seem to be involved in a lot of it.
Yeah. I've surrounded myself with a lot of interesting people, including you, Becky.
Well, the reason I brought you on the show is you told me you totally changed your lifestyle. What is it? It's not eat, pray, love. It's
juice, pray, love.
Juice, pray, love.
Because I don't really eat. That's why I'm skinny.
Right. You
I
are
just juice.
in great shape. She eats and juices.
I do eat.
So we have Susan sitting next to you, and she is your spiritualist? Is that?
No, I'm a spiritual clinical hypnotherapist.
Spiritual clinical hypnotherapist. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, and you know how this came to be was I was actually out with Molly. And Molly and I was kind of going through like a really rough patch in my life. And, my ex-husband passed away in October, like very bad circumstance. And I just I had a whole moment. Like I was just really spiritually not okay. And I was dealing with the grief, and I was dealing with all my crazy work stuff that you just met.
And you've been moving too, I know. That's difficult.
Yeah, and I felt like I have to do something. And I'm not somebody who can meditate. I don't relax easily. That's not me. I'm like, what do? I could go to another therapist and I could talk about it. What's next? And Molly said to me, you need to go to the hypnotherapist. And I said,
hypnotherapist.
That sounds great. And she goes, I took a family member, and it was a really positive experience. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. And I think I texted you from the restaurant and was like, can I come in tomorrow because I need help now? And I went in and saw her, and she put me under, and I walked out feeling incredibly liberated, and went back the next week and the next week, and went through a little cycle. I'm actually jonesing. I need to come back and see you. But yeah, I kept going because I kept walking out of there feeling so much better.
Okay, you're going to have to explain to us exactly what hypnotherapy is.
Well, it's a natural state of consciousness.
But are you hypnotizing people?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
She's hypnotized me several times.
Do you remember it after?
I do.
Okay.
I do, and it's good.
Okay, so explain what happens. If someone's all stressed out and they come to you, I've been pretty stressed out lately myself. So if I were to come to you, what would you do for me?
Okay, so initially I start with 30 minutes complimentary with your first session. So
that's good. So anyone can try it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, your first session is 60 minutes, and I add 30 minutes complimentary on to give us 90 minutes.
Okay.
That gives us extra time so we can talk. I can explain how hypnosis works, why it works, how it feels before we do anything.
Okay.
So you're very comfortable with the process, because once you understand the process and understand that it's just a natural state of consciousness, it's really a very focused concentration. You actually go into hypnotherapy or hypnosis, that trance state, many times during the day. You're just not aware of it.
Oh. But are you aware, Karen? I'm going to ask you, when you're with her doing this, do you know you're under hypnosis?
Yes and no. It's almost like, I can explain it when I do yoga, and you do yoga and you kind of get in that meditative state. Yeah. It's like that. I guess for people who can do meditation, I'm not one of those people. I can't do a self-guided meditation on my own. I can't concentrate. But for people who do, I would imagine it's probably very similar. It's kind of like a deep state of relaxation where you're almost sleeping, but you are somewhat aware that you're not sleeping.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Does that sound right?
Have you
Yes.
heard it described like that before?
Yes.
You know,
Okay.
so
So
like
you've been in that state many times. So have you ever been driving in a car and you get somewhere and you go,
And I'm 5 miles away. Yeah, today.
I have no idea how I just got here.
Yes.
You were so focused on a thought that your subconscious mind picked up the driving.
And you're in, do we drive well that way? That's scary.
But that's the state. When you're
Okay,
very
I know what you
focused
mean.
on something,
Yeah.
when you're at work or you're reading a
You're
book
thinking
and
about
you're on
something.
the computer and you're a couple hours go by and you're like, what happened?
Where did the time go?
That is a trance state. So if this is your conscious mind and this is sleep, you relax you to right before sleep, not sleeping. Okay, because I need you awake a little bit because I need you
Okay.
talking. So, but that's the state
All right.
that you're in.
And
So
how do you
that
get somebody
actually-
to that state?
Just a guided meditation
Okay.
down into a nice relaxed state. So that actually takes the critical factor out of the conscious mind and allows you to access the subconscious mind, which is nothing more than files that you've created throughout your life.
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's
It's
very
odd.
like I think what really was like eye opening was the fact that when you talk about it and you talk about how you're going to do it, you explain it in such a simple way that I was like, oh, I get that. You're like, we're going to go into the office and you're going to access one of these memories. It's like a bank of filing cabinets, and that
Oh,
makes
wow.
total sense
Yeah,
to
it
me.
does.
You take out the file, and you said to me, sometimes you got to clear off your desk, so you got to get rid of the files and put them away. And this made sense to me in a way that I don't think anybody's ever explained, like guided meditation to me or anything else. When I came in to see you the first time, that was the analogy that you gave me. And I went, wow, wait, I get that. So wait, you're going to ask me to pull the file. I'm going to get the memory. I'm going to keep it on my desk. I'm going to think about it, work with it, and then I'm going to put it away. And it was so simple.
Wow.
And nobody's ever given me any kind of advice like that. And I've been to a lot of like therapy and psychics and anything that I can do to kind of expand my mind, but this was totally new and very basic to
I
me.
can see you're very excited about it. So
Yeah, this inducing.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody's all stressed out. What do you do for them?
So we relax them, first of all. And by doing a guided meditation, they get very nice and relaxed. And then I
Okay.
start by asking them to imagine that they're either at a beach or a garden. One you've been to before, just imagine in your mind.
Right. Okay.
Right? So if you just close your eyes, you can imagine being at a beach. And it's very relaxing, and the water's coming, the birds are overhead. And then I ask you to start telling me what you're seeing. And you get very, very focused on the beach, let's say. Right?
Okay.
And you become very
Okay.
focused. And then I'll say to you, well, beforehand, I would ask a bunch of questions. So let's say you had a pet that passed. In this state of mind, you can actually imagine seeing that pet. So we bring the pet in first, and you get to pet the pet, you get to
Oh,
play with the
wow.
pet, you get to experience the pet again, talk to the pet,
Oh, my
and the
goodness.
pet will talk back because you can hear their thoughts in this experience.
That's intriguing.
There's a lot of things that are very intriguing. That's
And
just
I
the
would
tip of
imagine
the iceberg.
Now, can you do that with people, not pets? People
Well,
that
that's
have
part.
passed?
Yes, that's
Yes.
the next part. We bring in
Wow.
people who have crossed over, because what you're actually doing is going through the subconscious mind to the superconscious mind, and that's the spiritual level. And you can bring in a loved one who has passed, and we did that with.
We've
Karen
done that
today.
before.
Oh,
We've also brought
wow.
in people who are still living and people's souls who are still living too.
Right,
We've
we'll
done
cut the
some
cords
really
with them to
some
help you.
interesting stuff. Really super interesting. And then you wake up and you remember all of it. And I'm like, Susan, did you tape that? Because I think at one point I might have been speaking Spanish.
Well, you went into
what
many
just
past
happened?
lives in one
I
session.
had a lot going on.
This is
going
very
on.
interesting. What do you mean by past lives?
Well, I was trained by Dr. Brian Weiss. Did you remember the book, Many Lives, Many Masters?
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was trained by him to do past life regression. So what we do
you do
is
that on
we,
you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, boy.
She went into many, many past lives. In
I
one
did,
session.
and I had a really good time in one of them, and I need to go back just so I can go back there.
What were you in that life?
I had the most fabulous life. I was a Southerner, actually, and unfortunately, my husband now was my first husband in that life, and he died of yellow fever. Evan died
Evan
in the
died of
Civil
yellow
War.
fever?
After the Civil War. It was like I could tell you how crazy this sounds just speaking here.
It does
Like,
sound a
to
little-
everybody sounds a little crazy, but this actually happened like on a Tuesday in your house, and I kind of woke up.
Okay, so you were living this past life.
I went in, it kind of was in this empty house, and she was asking me, do you know where you are? And I said, it's my house, but nobody's here, and nobody was in the house, and I tried to figure out why there was nobody in the house, and meanwhile, I'm looking at my hands, and I'm like, oh, my hands are really pretty. And then, like, at another point, I'm like, ooh, I have really nice booties. But because you're in the moment.
Oh, this sounds
You're
like...
in the moment. You're in this dream, and it's vivid, and you can see it, and I had cats, and I was playing with the cats on the floor, and this actually happened, and when she brought me out, I was like, whoa, what just happened?
Oh, my gosh.
What just happened? What did you do? But it was really a great experience, like overall. Like, and I don't know how it all ties together, and I don't know, but therapeutically, I walked out and I said, I feel better. I don't know what just happened, but I feel entirely better about everything because it all makes sense now.
Okay, so why is it that she felt better then?
Well, we release a lot of stuff from a lot of energy that is brought in from other lifetimes we hold on to. And we need to either cut the cords to situations or people. We come around together in groups. So have you ever met someone and you instantly hate them or you instantly love them?
Yes,
You're either
absolutely.
attracted to them or...
Right.
Well, that could be most likely from a past life experience.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
we come
that's
around
interesting.
together. So when you see someone in a past life experience, I have them look at the eyes because the eyes are the seat of the soul. And when they look at the eyes, they can say, "Oh, that's my son or my brother or my uncle from this lifetime."
Oh, wow. So these people come back into our lives in different...
Absolutely.
That's very interesting.
Yes, no, it makes a lot of sense to me because I've kind of always like agreed with this whole theory of like these soul groups and that you meet people and that you know them from somewhere else and how do you know
click
them?
with certain people that you don't click with others.
I mean, I'm definitely very open-minded when it comes to this kind of stuff, which is why I probably hypnotize so well because I've sent a lot of people to Susan, and some of the people come back and they're like, yeah, like I didn't have the same experience as you, and I'm always kind of disappointed because I'm like, wait, you didn't see your childhood pet? You didn't send anybody to the light? There weren't angels there? Like, what
this
happened?
sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole cast of characters when I do this. It's a whole, you just open up your minds and it's like you're dreaming, but it's essentially really real and really therapeutic. Who knew?
It's a very powerful tool.
It
Very powerful.
sounds like it.
And I have to say, I knew nothing about what you do beyond the fact that I was dealing with grief and that I was going to go see a hypnotherapist because my friend said it was a good idea. I didn't look you up, and I would have come anyway. I would have been like, yeah. But I didn't know about the angels or the past life regression. I just came because I needed help, and I was at a loss. And it was like immediately I walked out and I was like, wow, like...
It's excellent for grief because a lot of times you have leftover feelings or feelings of regret or remorse or that you want to just get off your chest and say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And
so how do you achieve that?
You just tell them, I'm sorry.
You take them and they're back with the person and...
They talk to them.
He came to the garden.
Yeah.
He came to the garden.
She saw her husband.
Yeah.
Really?
I had a whole conversation with him. Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
What did he say?
We talked about stuff. I don't want to get like it was personal stuff, but I mean, he came into the garden. She brought in my garden. My garden looks like the Godfather garden. I have to tell you because I've looked it up online. I'm trying to figure out what garden it is. And he came in and I said what I needed to say to him and he said what he needed to say to me and we had a whole spiritual moment and then, there were people waiting for him on the other side because I think he was kind of hanging around, maybe unfinished business. Like, I don't understand how the whole afterlife works, but all I know is that day when I came to your house and that happened, I walked out feeling like at peace and that he was at peace.
Oh, that is so
And before I walked
interesting.
in, I felt like totally chaotic.
And how did he seem?
He was good. He was good. He was better when I saw him the second time. The first
seen him
time,
twice.
he was still like a little like jacked up because he didn't know, like, I don't know that he entirely had dealt with his own passing. But after when he came back, it was
great.
amazing. He was at peace. So to just have that, like, I don't know what all of that is, but it was just, I walked out and I felt really, really good.
Well, many times the soul doesn't know to look up and go into the light. So
Oh, wow.
when we have someone in the garden who's crossed over, I always ask, did you go into the light, look up, and when they look up, they see the sky, and the sky opens up, and then they see their family and their friends and their loved ones, and they go up.
And sometimes they're a little resistant too. Sometimes they don't want to go.
Well, they don't know.
Or they have things that they feel like they haven't finished.
Very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it's a wow. See, aren't you excited about today's guest?
Yeah.
Aren't you excited that I came in to tell you about this today?
Yes, this is amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
So if someone is dealing with grief over the loss of a loved one, they can come to you, and you can take them into this state where they can actually talk to
Their loved
the
ones.
person that has
Their
passed.
deceased loved ones, absolutely.
Oh, that's big.
And or go into a past life with them that they most likely had with them.
So you're saying people come into our lives again and again?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, and you know what else I think is super cool that you do, which I think is not traditionally now, knowing all this great stuff that I've done with you. You help people like quit smoking, and I had somebody who had an issue who I sent to you for, a personal problem that they were having with, a habit. And you were able to fix it by addressing other issues with them and hypnotizing them. And like, I wouldn't traditionally think about like, I need to quit smoking, so I'm going to go to a hypnotherapist.
But yet it's very powerful, especially for smoking.
So it works.
So
for
they have
smoking.
a file in there that says, I'm a smoker. Well,
Why
you just
are
have
you
to
a
go in
smoker?
and find out what this file is all about. Let's open
Why
it
are
up.
you a
Let's-
smoker?
Okay, so
Yeah.
someone's a smoker and they come to you. How does that work?
So I would hypnotize them, and we could go into actually physically in their minds go into a room that looks like a file cabinet room, and we find the file that has
And
that
that's
I'm a
smoking.
smoker, and we work on it. We open it up, we find out where it started from. Do they still need to feel cool or whatever the reason was?
Right. Okay.
And we work through that, and we take the file and basically we change it up. We release the issues, and they walk out of there. We change that file to I'm a non-smoker. I never smoke again.
Wow.
That's
Is that
one part.
amazing?
Yes.
The second thing I'll do is to take them into the future. Well, we go two paths. The first path is going down into the future, continuing to smoke, just like you're smoking now. So we'll go 6 months, a year, a couple of years, right before you die. How are you feeling? How are you breathing now? And it's never really a good feeling.
Right.
And they actually feel what it feels
wow.
like to not be able to take a breath. And that usually is enough for them to say, oh, and they're alone and their life is completely different. And then bring them back to, let's say, the beach, and we go to the other side, and we pretend we go down the road and say, okay, let's go this way, and decide that you'll never have another cigarette again from today on. Let's see what that looks like. And we go into the future never smoking again. And they see what their life looks like and how happy they are and how relieved they are and how easy it was to quit and everything else. And they don't touch it again.
Incredible.
Yeah, same thing
Wow.
with fears. Same technique with fears.
Oh, really?
Oh, fears, anxiety. It's basically what we do with anxiety is we know, our subconscious mind knows there's fear here. There's something that we don't want to experience again in our life, either in this lifetime or a past lifetime. But we feel it coming. And we have a fear now of feeling that feeling.
Right.
So now that keeps coming up. It's like pushing down a ball in the ocean, and it keeps popping up on you. Well, you want to take a look at that and see what is that I'm holding on to, and you want to honor it and release it. And when you release it, it's like a balloon floating away, and it's gone.
Mine was like a big ball of fire. It was like
Yours
a
was
big,
a big ball of
fiery, big fiery ball that we released into the universe.
And what did it represent?
It was anxiety. It was all this stuff that I had pent up over different experiences that I never dealt with. Because I don't think for me, like, I'm not going to say, oh, I feel this way. Why do I feel this way? Let me explore and open my filing cabinet. But when you're there and you're like, all right, well, why, where do you think this came from? All of a sudden, I'm able to relax enough to let my brain, like, think about, okay, why am I having this feeling? Why am I having this anxiety that makes no sense whatsoever?
But the other thing is that not only are you going into this lifetime and all the memories, but you could go into the memories of all your lifetimes. So let's say your anxiety was based on something that happened in a past lifetime.
so some people are just born
You're
anxious?
actually able to go into your past life and find out
Fix it.
why that's bothering you in this lifetime. You fix it in that lifetime, and it's gone in this one.
Oh, I love this.
It's really, I got to
It's
tell you,
crazy.
it's so good. It's
Wow.
so good. Her sessions are just amazing. And you just walk out. Like, I walk out feeling so, like, light. So light. That's the only way I
that's
can
because
explain
with
it.
you, because she believes in the spiritual world, with her, I'll work with that realm. If someone doesn't believe
Yeah, what do you do with
that,
a non-believer?
we don't work with that realm. I still can hypnotize
They're not
the
as
person.
much fun, basically. That's what I'm just going to tell you. They're not. That I would imagine that in your profession, that clients like me are a lot more fun because I'm like, who are we going to see today?
Did you tell Evan about the yellow fever?
Oh, he knows the whole story. There's so much more than that. There's so many good. I don't want to give too much away, but like I love what you do, and I think it's really amazing when you open your mind to it. Because I went in like so desperate for help that you could have like I just wanted to feel differently, and I was like, I know
To
I
feel
have
better.
a ton of things that I'm not dealing with. What are they? And to me, the past life thing makes total sense. It makes sense to me,
But a
but
lot
I
of
don't know that
times it's
everybody
this
feels that
lifetime,
way.
too.
Yeah, this lifetime too. I
know
have
some-
problems here too.
I know some girlfriends of mine that are going to want to come and see you because they love this kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, no, you would
Wow.
love it. That's why, that's why I invited her,
Yeah.
because I know that you'll love it and you'll do it and you'll be like, wow.
That,
And
it really does sound like fun.
even the non-believers that I have in my circle that I've sent to her for other things come out saying she's great. It's amazing. I feel entirely different. They don't have the whole experience of the ball of light and the
Some people have, when they they just have to be open to it and just want to experience, just to relax into it. But if they know in advance, sometimes they get a little too nervous about things. So, but that's okay. I usually work around that, and they have a pretty good experience mostly.
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting. So, but you said, okay, if someone's a total non-believer in past lives and all that,
That's
you can
still
still
fine.
work with them.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so what do you do in that case?
I could work with the future, and I could work with the file cabinets and go into the file cabinets and
It
work
was my phone. Sorry.
and work with them that way. But with someone who is a believer, I can work with the spiritual realm, and then on top of seeing your loved ones, we can see the angels. I work with a team of angels: Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. So you
Really?
get to meet them.
I met Archangel Gabriel.
Ah.
He released the ball of light into the universe.
Wow.
The angry ball of fire.
And any other religious, people that you believe in, and we meet with them. God.
Even ones you don't believe in, because although I'm very spiritually open, I consider myself Jewish, and I had some people show up that were, maybe originally Jewish to
meet Jesus?
Now, yes, but it was just that
He's
whole
Jewish.
like, I'll enlist anybody who's going to help me spiritually. I think we're all on this team together. I think everybody needs to come in.
Wow.
It's really good for fears too, because fears
Okay.
are very easy to
And
find
fears
the issue.
are what make people anxious, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I had a client who came in and said, I have a fear of flying, but I can fly over land, but I can't fly over water. Okay.
That's odd.
That's odd.
Okay.
I said, well, what goes through your mind when you go to fly over water? And he said, well, I'll fall out of the sky and I'll drown. And I thought to myself, well, that's really interesting, because I don't think drowning is really going to be
I was going to say, I actually think you're probably better off. Like, look at Captain Sully in that water landing in the Hudson.
Maybe
Yeah, we could
bounce into the
we
water.
could show him the video. But yeah, because I feel like the water you have a better shot than land.
So he's afraid of drowning by crashing in an
So
airplane.
he was
Okay.
Yeah, he had
Okay.
a lot of anxiety about going on a plane because he might because he might drown.
That'd be a really good landing to actually get to the drowning part.
Yeah, but I get it, because
get
it's like, it's that fear that you're going to suffer before it ends.
Over
Whereas if the
something that-
plane just fell out of the sky and landed in a
And
cornfield.
it's having no control.
Yeah.
What happened was when I regressed him. I did a childhood regression. We start with the childhood regression first, and then go into past life regression.
Oh.
In the childhood regression, he was with his father on a pier, and he was playing on the railing, and while the father was fishing, he fell over.
He fell in.
He fell in and almost drowned.
Okay.
And his dad had to come and get him. But the memory of that was triggered every time he was over water. If he went on a bridge, it would get triggered.
Okay.
So once he saw that's where the memory came from, that he doesn't have to be afraid of falling in the water anymore, that
So
just
how do you
released
change it, though?
He just, by recognizing it, by
Really?
honoring it and recognizing it.
Interesting.
Because I think sometimes that's it, is like some of the things that I've thought about in these sessions are not things, obviously the ones in the past life I hadn't thought about before, but even the childhood ones or my present day ones, like it's stuff that I wasn't dealing with, I wasn't thinking about. It's not on your radar screen on like
You
a
don't know-
day-to-day
yeah, you
basis.
don't realize it.
So you have like this unfounded anxiety, you don't know where it's coming from, and then all of a sudden, when it makes sense, it's easier to let it go because at least you understand it. It's like fear is almost like it's not rational, it's irrational. My fear, my anxiety was irrational.
Right.
But once it's somewhat rational, I'm
And
mad at my
everybody-
husband because he died in the Civil War. I'm good now. We're good. We're good now. I mean, it's that whole
No, a lot
like
of people have irrational fears, and they don't know where they're coming from.
you don't know where
That's
it's coming
where it
from.
comes
Yeah.
So you can tell us where they're coming from, and you can change them.
Right.
Wow.
Actually,
wow, people.
Yeah.
Actually,
huge.
my clients tell me what the issue is. I
Right.
don't tell them.
Right.
And that's why I think it's so much more powerful than talk therapy, because talk therapy can never get to the past life issues as quickly as we can. So
I
can
can't
do
get
this
to any of my issues in regular therapy the way that I get
No,
to them
this
with
sounds
you.
totally
Yeah.
different than anything I've heard.
Yeah, and I will go to a therapist too. Give me talk therapy, like anybody. Like I get a list of angels. Everybody can come on board. But I'm not dealing with the issue. So now, how am I going to have somebody else help me with that issue when I'm not even willing to identify it? They're going to talk to me for hours before I'm even going to realize what it is. With this, it's like you take me there. I look at it. I visualize it. It happens. I look at the file. I see it open. And then you're like, oh, I know why I feel that way. Great. And you're good.
Yeah.
Right.
I would
when you
imagine
open the
that-
file, it actually just takes you right there.
So you know.
So you know exactly where, and you're like, oh,
Oh.
that happened when I was, in diapers or
Wow.
something.
Who knew?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like this.
It's so simple. Like, I'm like, why didn't anybody introduce me to this year? I would be so much more. The past 6 months has been so good, but I would have been in such better shape and would have been mentally so much better had I known about this.
Right.
But you don't know what you don't know.
No, you don't.
It's great for anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
Really good for
And
that.
that's what just about everybody I know seems to suffer from.
And I'm willing to go to whatever lengths. Just like I said, I'm very open-minded with this, but it's just that whole release of like, I'm just going to give it up. I don't have control over it. Let me figure out what the problem is.
Wow. Okay, we only have a couple minutes here. So tell people how to get in touch with you because
Well,
sure
I
a lot
want
of people-
everyone to get joyful, so that's what I named it. GetJoyful.com.
getjoyful.com. Okay.
GetJoyful.com.
All right.
And they can schedule right online. If they schedule their first time client session, they get 30 minutes automatically. And I do record the sessions.
And you're located in
Delray.
Delray.
it's-
Nice and close.
Heard it on the Becky and Boca show.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic. Wow, I learned
Well,
something
thank you
tonight.
for having
Sounds
me.
like a lot of
I
fun.
appreciate it.
Okay, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You have been watching and listening to The Becky and Boca Show. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. to discover all the ways to spoil yourself and have a good time in beautiful Boca Raton. See you next week.
The opinions expressed on the preceding